Yo, what's up? In this video, I'm going to talk about the power forwards, and I'm going to give you the top 5 greatest power forwards of all time. Now, if you haven't seen my top 5 greatest point guard, shooting guard, and small forward, the links are in the description box. Like I said earlier in the earlier videos, there's no list that is right or wrong. You know, your list is your list. People got different criterias. My criteria is players that I have seen play, you know. So you won't see Moses Malone on this list. Now, although Moses Malone did play when I was watching, but he was past his prime. He was like with San Antonio and stuff. You know, he wasn't, you know, he was pretty much like a role player then. So, number 5, I'm trying to make this brief, you know. Number 5, Dirk. Now, Dirk, the greatest Dallas Maverick player, and to me, he the greatest foreign player. Won the title in 2011 after losing in 2006. He won the MVP. Great perimeter player, excellent shooter. He perfected the European style as far as like tall players and big guys like power forwards and centers. Shooting threes and shooting perimeter shots like shooting guards. He perfected that in my eyes. He not a defensive type player. He not a center, although he plays center every blue moon. Great passer, great shooter, great player. You know, Dirk, number 5. Number 4, Kevin Garnett. Now, Kevin Garnett started with Minnesota. He made Minnesota relevant. All the time I've been watching Kevin Garnett, I never felt like he was disinterested or quit or, you know, lazy or whatever. He played with intensity like every game. Even when he had them sucky teams in Minnesota during the latter part of his tenure in Minnesota, I never seen him quit. He won MVP one year. Almost made it to the finals that year. They made it to the Western Conference Finals. Later on down the line, he got traded to Boston along with Ray Allen. He joined up with Paul Pierce, and they won that championship in 2008. I think he won Defensive Player of the Year that year. Now, for the people who hated Boston that year, or the people who didn't like Kevin Garnett, now, there was a really happy moment when he did that speech crying on the court, because, you know, you saw that this meant a lot to him as far as his basketball career goes. Because it been how long he been in the league? He been in the league about 13, 14 years at that point. So, you know, and he finally won the title, you know. He didn't care about finals MVPs. He didn't care. He won that title, and that's all he was worrying about. That's why I be trying to tell people about it. But nevertheless, a great player, great defensive player. You know, he played more defense than Dirk. I think I'm not alone on that you know, breakdown. Play center, play power forward. You know, great player. Kevin Garnett, number 4. Number 3, Charles Barkley. Now, Charles Barkley got drafted to the 76ers. He was with Dr. J and Moses Malone in the latter days, but they still was a good team. He still was a great player. He got traded to Phoenix. They went to the finals. He won MVP, but they, you know, ran into Michael Jordan like plenty of other people that I mentioned throughout this list. And unfortunately, he didn't win. After which, he went to Houston. Now, if this team was a bit younger, this would have been a championship team with Elijah Warren and Pippen or whatever, and Barkley. But, you know, they all was past their prime. And although they still going to the playoffs and stuff, but, you know, they wasn't the player they used to be. Now, Barkley was an excellent rebounder, shooter. He played defense. He could pass. He's He's a great player. You know, a lot of people know him more, like people who don't really watch basketball, they know him more for the controversial things he did, like that window incident, on the comments, you know, I'm not a role model, you know, the Kenny Smith, Ernie Johnson show inside the NBA. But past all that, he a great player. You know, I just wish he would have won a title. You know, cause that one of the person I wanted, one of the players I wanted to see win a title. Charles Barkley, number 3. Number 2, Karl Malone. Now, Karl Malone, you might well say he was a Utah Jazz for life, with the exception of these latter years that I'm gonna speak about in a second. But he made Utah a relevant team. You know, him and Stockton. You know, they went to the playoffs every year. They were together. Big guy. He was a banger. A lot of people say he played dirty. You know, I didn't see it, but you know, he was just a big guy. Excellent post player, excellent defensive player. John Stockton, you know, his point guard, they were one of the greatest duos ever in NBA history. They made it to the finals twice. I think he won MVP. Yeah, he won MVP the second time he went with Utah. But like Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan was waiting, and unfortunately he didn't win. I think he won the next year. That short season he won MVP. So he won back-to-back MVPs in the short season. But they lost to Portland, because I remember watching that series. I think it was Portland, I believe. Later on down the line, he got he joined up with Kobe and Shaq, and Gary Payton joined up too. And that team was an instant championship contender, you know. And it proved itself during the season. You know, they all were clicking. I think I forgot who got injured. Somebody got injured during the season, but they still was a good team. You know, they made it all the way to the finals, but they ran into my Pistons and they lost, you know. Then I think I think Karl Malone played out the next year, then he retired. All-time great player, all-time great power forward, Karl Malone. Now, number one, I think I'm not alone on this, is Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward of all time. Got drafted out of Wake Forest to the Spurs. Turned that team around. His next year, they won the title. Now, it was a lockout season, and a lot of people, you know, held that against him. I didn't, but a lot of people did. And then he said, okay, and a couple years later, he won another title, then another, then another. During that little span, he won 2 MVPs, Mr. Fundamental. He's not exciting. You know, basketball fans such as myself, we respect. I like watching the Spurs play, you know. I watch all the finals except the one they played the Nets. Except the one they played Scottie Pippen James in Cleveland. But the other ones I watched. You know, David Robinson left. Tony Parker, Ginobili, Bowen. Look, he won with a slew of players. You know, they good, Parker and Ginobili or whatever. But Duncan was the man, you know, on no team after David Robinson left. Excellent player, excellent rebound. Anything you could name, he could do. You know, he could shoot, he could post up, he played center, he played defense. Great offensive player, efficient shooter, efficient free throw shooter for his size or whatever, power forward in position. Great player. You know, I think it kind of, you know, when people talk about great players, such as Bird and Magic and Jordan, I was telling somebody the other day after they lost the finals, you know, I said, man, I wonder why people don't mention Tim Duncan a lot as far as being up there with Bird and Magic Johnson and Jordan them, you know, because I put him right up there in that class with them, you know, Kareem and you know, Wilt or whatever. I put Tim Duncan right up there with them. You know, they don't never mention him with you know, like the pundits or whatever. They don't never mention him with the likes of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and stuff. Some do, but I guess because his personality ain't really out there, he just keep to himself. I guess that's why. But he just as dominant as them. You know, Jordan, Bird, and Magic. He just as dominant, you know. So he one of my favorite players of all time, period. Tim Duncan, number 1. So let's break this down. 5 Dirk, 4 Garnett, 3 Barkley, 2 Karl Malone, and 1 Tim Duncan. Now this my list. Tell me your list of top 5 greatest power forwards in the description box. So with that said, that's it.